Hey guys, this is Jacolia of Jacolia Gems. Thank you for once again coming back home, family. For those of you that happen to be new here, welcome. I definitely hope that you hear something that will persuade you to stay. Now, do me a favor if you have not already done so. What are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below, share to your social media platforms. Let's open this up for some discussions. I am going to say this, my stance is my stance. And I am the type of person, even if I have not upheld my own stance, the standard is still what it is, irregardless of what we do. It just is what it is. Now, T, oh yeah, y'all call me Jacolia. What are you talking about? My daughter and I was talking a couple of days ago, and we talk all the time. I love my baby. We were speaking about Queen Naija and Clarence. Now, for those of you who don't know who that is, I think just about everybody know who Queen is because she has some bops. She can sing. She has a couple of songs that I absolutely love. Her voice is amazing. She gives me old school 90s R&B vibes. And a lot of y'all not really gonna know who they are if you don't listen to R&B music or haven't listened to R&B music. Because although I think they're a little younger than me, but within the older age group, as far as, I don't know, are they in their late 20s, early 30s? I don't know. I just know I'm older than them. Then that would be a reason why some of y'all haven't heard of who they are. But a little background, Queen Naija was married to her ex-husband by the name of Chris. They started off on YouTube together. I have 2 children, so I watch their YouTube channels and stuff with them. And Chris and Queen, they were funny, y'all. Their YouTube channel was absolutely funny. You could see why they were married. They have a son by the name of CJ. Unfortunately, that marriage was tumultuous with Chris being a cheater. I'm not sure if he was abusive as well. I don't want to put that on him if he was not. But Chris was a serial cheater. Queen ended up leaving him eventually. And she always had this crush by the name of Clarence. He's a YouTuber. That's who she's with now. And after seeing this relationship play out, ladies, it's okay to just have a crush. It's okay to not take a guy serious and to put them in relationship zone. And y'all gonna understand why I'm saying this after a while. A lot of times as women, we put the cart before the horse, and you see somebody that's fine, somebody that you sexually attracted to, and you just want to be with them. You don't know if your lifestyles align. You don't know if your relationship end goals timeline align. And I've seen a lot of women do this. And the reason why I don't include myself in this is because I only had one relationship that was too long. And the reason why it was too long is because I was trying to figure out a way out of it without feeling like I was dying. That relationship was a trauma bond. I personally do not and will not ever believe in just casual, I'm dating you and you my boyfriend. Like, and we're together for a year with no engagement, no talks of marriage. Like, I don't have time like that to waste. It's never made sense to me. Even in my youth, I would always be like, no, I'm not going to be your girlfriend, because to me, I know this relationship not going to end in marriage. And that's my end desire. So we can just kick it carnally, so we can just be adults. We can just be friends. Whereas majority of the women will just take the title to have the title. I have men who, even on here and in real life, we refer to each other as exes, but we were never boyfriend and girlfriend. And the reason being for that is because of the depth of how the relationship went. But I never allowed them to make me their girlfriend, because I knew that this would not be something that would end in marriage for me. We don't even have the same spiritual appetite, spiritual beliefs. This is purely carnal. And although tantalizing physically, mentally, and emotionally, it does not align spiritually. And this is why it's important for us women to know how to be kept and how to be tucked away, how to keep our legs closed, and how to just have friends. It'll make life a lot easier. If you decide to put sex in the midst of it, most women don't know how to silence their emotions to the point where they don't desire more from a relationship that they know is purely sexual. And this is how women end up screwing their ways into relationships. One thing I never want to do is screw my way into a relationship, screw my way into a title, screw my way into a marriage. It's not built on anything that's substantial. So a lot of times relationships start off as just sex, and then people end up together because of the chemical exchange and the level of possessiveness that ends up incurring. When men are sleeping with a woman and he could be messing with other women, when he knows that you're a good girl, and when he knows that you're the only one that he's sleeping with, and when he knows that you have certain qualities, like you have wifely qualities, but you're too gullible and you're too naive to see those things about you, or you're too desperate, you're in too much of a hurry. Queen made the mistake that a lot of women make. You fresh out of a marriage, and then you jump straight into another relationship that you screwed your way into. And now you elevated this man. He was living with relatives, which everybody should be able to. If you're not married, ain't nothing wrong with living at home. You got a job, you pay your own bills. This is how generational wealth is built. I'm not one to shame grown men living at home with their mom and they dad. Those their parents. Like, why they gotta move out? They working on their credit. They have careers. They have their savings account. They can afford to live on their own. I'm never gonna shame a man or a woman for living at home. It don't make sense. What I am going to do is mention the fact that she had more than him as far as notoriety, as far as career stability. And there are plenty of women that I know personally who have more than the men that they have been with or that they are with, and they don't realize that they are getting the short end of the stick, all because he got you demonetized, and because you didn't even give yourself enough chance to heal from that previous marriage, to process the emotional and physical abuse that your mind, your heart, your body, and your soul took. You didn't give your son time to process that before bringing another man in his life, in the household, in the new dynamic. There is no purging, there's no cleansing. And a lot of times these relationships tend to overlap. And that's how women end up in relationships, how Queen is in, where you're living with this man, you traveling with him, you had a baby by him, and you're still not married. And the public knows, your friend knows, your family knows, you desire to be a wife. A lot of women in these long-term relationships that are living with men, that have babies with men, they desire to be married. They don't take into account of how they got into that relationship. You were easy pickings for this man. You were willing and ready to lay down with this man while you still had the stench of another man on you. While you still had another man's last name. While you were still attached, or even if you waited to the divorce. You jumped straight in. You didn't vet. And when women be thinking that they vetted a guy out and all of this other stuff, no, you didn't. Because if you did, you still wouldn't be married all of these years, unmarried all of these years later. You still wouldn't be dealing with his emotional highs and his emotional lows and his red flags and having your own thoughts about walking away, having your own thoughts about cheating and all these other things. You did not vet this person out. Your mind was still too focused on what was going on in the other relationship. We have to stop equating sex to love and to fidelity. We have to stop pretending like we don't want to be married when we want to be married. When you're telling your friends and your family that you want to be married, or you're saying, oh, when we get married. If a man wants to marry a woman, that's what he gonna do. And he not gonna take all day to do it. He will realize that this is a wife and I need to lock her down because she may be absolutely in love with me. She will leave me because her desire is to be a wife and I'm not making her that. But we have to begin to ask ourselves as women, because some women say they don't want to be married. Everybody don't want to be married. A lot of women that say that is because a man ain't never proposed to them before. Then some people say, oh, it don't mean nothing to get engaged. It don't mean nothing to get married. But it's easy for a woman to say it don't mean nothing to have been engaged before if you've never had a man get down on his knees to you. If you've only been a girlfriend. And not by choice. A lot of times women who say that they don't want to get married are also women that have been traumatized and have seen what married people go through. I will say it's weird to me that women in these long-term cohabiting relationships void of marriage are somehow, quote-unquote, better than single women who decide to stay to themselves. That's really weird to me. Even though I will always be under the belief system and the true knowledge of the fact that a pregnant woman that was cohabitating with a man was considered a wife in Hebraic times until Rome came in. Y'all not under that belief system. We living under the laws in a land that don't belong to us. So that's not applicable to the situations that I'm speaking of today. When we talk about this 3-month rule, this 90-day rule, a lot of people laugh it off and call it old school or whatever. Dating, even though we court in the Israelite community, in the Hebrew community, in the Christian church, we court. We don't date. And even if you want to call it dating, dating is literally collecting data. This is when you're getting to know this person as a friend. And not even just one-on-one. Y'all need to hang out at a barbecue around his friends, around your friends. Just to get to know each other, because at this point, y'all are just friends. Or you should be. You should be assessing the compatibility and having real life conversations. This is not the time where your emotions should even be on the table. This is where you should be prospecting and praying and keeping your body off the table. And by that 90th day, that man will weed himself out, or he'll rise to the occasion and put a stamp on you. And by that 6 month, it's typically going to be very serious. And if he waited 3 months, he'll wait 3 more months. Because he's not seeking your body, he's seeking your hand. We have to know the difference between a man who's looking for a wife and a man who's looking for a come up or a warm bed. Men that are in hot pursuit of a wife makes a woman such. Cam Newton came out and said that he made his now fiance slash multiple, I don't know which number baby mom she is. I think he got 8 kids. Wait 3 years to meet his kids. Why are you still his girlfriend at 3 years when you know you want to be a wife? Why are you waiting 3 years to meet somebody's children? That's 6 months. That's that month when that man sits you down. Y'all sit each other down. Where are we going from here? What are we doing? A lot of times, some men already have your ring picked out. And that 6 month, they're going to propose. Or within that 6 month frame. So then if you have children, by that 6 month, it's like, okay, we've grown to know each other for 3 months. We've dated exclusively or courted exclusively for 3 months. Now let's see how you mesh with the kids. How you mesh with the family. And then he proposes. That's pretty typical. Or within that year mark, he proposes. Because this is what he was seeking. If a man has not proposed to you, if he has not taken you ring shopping, he was not looking for a wife. He fell into some vagina that came with a comfortable situation. He ended up gaining a level of possession concerning you. It came with some emotions, and he made a decision based off of what would be best for him. You're not included in his plans at all. You just happen to be there. If you were included in his plans as a woman, the highest level of elevation that a man can provide a woman is his last name. Flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. If that man dies, do you have life insurance policy on him? You're going to be listed in the obituary as his child's mother, as his little friend, if at all. Nobody ever has to acknowledge you again. Nobody ever has to do anything for you. You're just his girlfriend. Fiance is absolutely better because biblically, a betrothed woman, that's called her husband. In the court of law, an engagement is a legally binding contract. If a man proposes to you and breaks the engagement and you did not do anything to break that legal binding contract, as far as cheating, being disrespectful, or whatever, you get to keep the ring because it legally belongs to you. If you do something to break the contract, you have to give him the ring back. I don't know, this is just coming from somebody that had her haul paid for, her bridesmaid dresses and stuff paid for, running me my ducats. I didn't even ask for the money for the ring or to keep the ring. All of that other money, give my mama back her money. And I still get to walk away with my body intact and with my dignity. And a few months later, after you realize that you allow your mother to operate in the spirit of witchcraft and to make us break up, you won't be able to come back. Why? Because you moved outside of alignment. And my standard to be a wife did not change. And the yo-yoing back and forth is not what's going to happen. I'm looked at as the bad girl here in Chicago by a lot of people. But I'm looked at as the good girl by a lot of people as well. It's kind of confusing for some people, but it's very clear for me. As I stated, the one and only time anybody has seen me in a relationship off and on for years was that last one that I was fighting my way out of for hell. I'm not trying to place my lifestyle and my standards on women. I'm trying to give y'all G. Because y'all are stupid. Y'all are gullible. And y'all are naive. You're setting poor examples for your daughters. I've set a poor example for my children in plenty of ways. This just not one of them. You are making yourself miserable when you go to bed at night and you know you want to be married. You cooking, you cleaning, you throwing it back, you know, bringing out all the tricks, the frills and all of it, you're performing. And you think you're getting raving reviews, but in your heart of hearts, you know you're not. You know you're settling. Are you really settling, though, or do you just realize that this is what you truly deserve because this is your equal? If you've been a wife before and it was not in the right capacity, it was abusive and it was cheating, you don't know how to find a husband and you don't really know how to be a wife. You've just been married. A lot of us have been things by title, but lack the nature thereof. And when the older women in our family and our churches raise concern, we call them jealous, we call them haters and things like this. They have wisdom far beyond what our eyes can see. And on tonight's podcast, Trip was saying, you know, you shouldn't let your elders pressure you into marriage and pressure you into having a baby and it's this, that, and other. It's not pressure, it's concern. It's love. When you gonna get married? Why? Because they know that two is better than one, even if you're single. If they see you in a long-term relationship and you just laying up, they're going to say something about it. Because those are your protectors. Those are your providers. You may be grown. You will never catch up to them. I didn't bring my ex home because I knew it wasn't right. And I would sit up and tell him, I would never take you to meet my daddy. He talked to my mom on the phone before. I would never take you to meet my daddy. Like, you would never go home to see him. Or run down the list and be like, oh, I would never marry a man that this, that, and the other. I had no bears in being with him. And I told him that yesterday when we were on the phone. Because I still have, I really can't be cordial with him. I tried to be cordial with him. And I know he's going to see this video. I tried to do it after a couple of years just because this is the only man in the Israelite community that I don't know nobody, you know, like that. So that's why I'm single. Like, I don't know nobody. I don't know nobody. I told him we never had no business being together. And a lot of women need to admit that you never had no business being with these people. I went 6 months, me and this man were just friends, studying the Bible. In some way, somehow, he got me. And it was the dumbest thing because I know that I wasn't even, I'm too old for him. I'm too smart, I'm too mature for him. There's some things about him that I are on my checklist. Like, no, we never had any business being with one another. And because of that, you end up wasting years of your life. Yet I'm thankful for the relationship because it taught me and it grew me. Trying to convince yourself that a relationship is the place where you are supposed to be when you know that the level of relationship that you have is not what you truly want. It's self-hate. If you're laying next to a man year after year and you know you want to be a wife and he has not made you one, you don't love yourself. And we need to come to the realization that a lot of us battle with low self-esteem and low self-worth. And we don't know how to love ourselves because nobody truly taught us how to. If you're in a family that don't have a lot of marriages, or the marriages that you've seen are full of abuse and lying and cheating or what have you and disrespect. But yeah, ladies, let's stop fooling ourselves and pretending that we want something, that we have something knowing that it doesn't fulfill us. Choose yourself. Love yourself. It's okay to co-parent with the man that you thought that you would marry. Trust me, I do it. This is Jacolia of Jacolia Jam.